good, but my dad didn't like it. In fact, he said it was mediocre. And in our household, mediocre was a cuss word. My dad rewrote the speech for me, and it wasn't my speech. The first line referred to someone called Horatio Alger. I didn't even know who Horatio Alger was, but there I was, on the stage at the scholarship acceptance dinner, and there I was, and my dad insisted only a mediocre speaker would use notes. I had no notes. I went up on the stage. I had memorized and memorized and drilled and drilled and memorized and drilled my dad's speech. But when I got up there, oh my Lord, 2,000 people in this giant auditorium, and their applause was just rolling down the stage at me, the booming noise off the rafters, the sunlight coming in, hitting me in the eyes. I didn't know what to do. I stood there shaking in my shoes, and I stood forward to the microphone because it was on a stand, and I stepped forward and I said, when Horatio Alger, and then I froze. And I just stood there in this really uncomfortable silence for a long time until the MC mercifully ran onto the stage and clapped me down. And everyone clapped for me and thought I was a cute 16-year-old who couldn't remember her speech. But my point about that is, here's why I couldn't remember that speech. It wasn't my speech. It was never my speech. And so whenever you're asked to talk on the hot seat, remember, this is your speech. This is your chance to be yourself. You don't ever have to let anybody put any words in your mouth, and you get to be yourself. Don't try to be anything for anybody else. And quite often, when we are doing something in public, we feel like we have to uphold an image that's higher than some, even our own vision of ourselves. I would say let that go. Your vision of yourself is the true one, and when you speak, speak with your true voice. And that's really the way to be authentic. Is everybody with me on that? Everybody with me? Okay, very authentic people here. Okay, I'd like to give you a couple of tips. These are, I'm going to even give you one that's kind of funny here. This is a secret that I think a number of gentlemen in the room know, because gentlemen seem to always know how to do this. They have a stock line. Do you know what I mean by a stock line? So if you were asked to give a toast, for example, you might say, may you live as long as you want and never want for as long as you live.
Sounds good.
And okay, there you go. That's a great toast, isn't it? It will go right out of my head the minute I hear it. I'll clink my glass and I won't remember it another day. But gentlemen, quite often, they'll have these stock lines. They'll have these jokes, they'll have a certain thing they'll say when they shake your hand. And all of us women, we know this because we've been exposed to wonderful gentlemen who have greeted us with certain stock pleasantries over the years. Some of us know what I'm talking about. So have a stock phrase or have a stock toast. So sometimes when you are asked to speak, like if you're at a wedding, chances are you might be the oldest person in the room and they figure you're the wisest. So they want to hear from you, so they're going to ask you to give a toast. Anticipate that before you go. When you know that they're going to ask you for that, you might have your stock one. You might Google some really good wedding toasts before you go. Or you might have the Irish blessing. You might have something like that. One of my favorite ones is, may you always have wine and may your goose always be cooked. So, you have some fun things to say and have those memorized. Also, if you do have the opportunity to speak where you're going to give a little bit longer speech, maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that, where let's say that Bill told you he's going to ask you to say something toward the end of the meeting, and now you have some time during the meeting to think about it. It's not a complete hot seat, but it sort of is, because you did not arrive in the room expecting to do a speech. So now you've got a little time to think. All you want to consider is what's your beginning, what's your middle, and what's your end. And then you won't ramble, and you won't go on, and you won't embarrass yourself or Bill, and you'll have fun when you're doing it. So just consider whenever you're talking, you want to have a little beginning, middle, and end. You want to be able to wrap it up when you're done. You don't want to just fade off and have them have to give you the hook. Okay, here's another little-known secret of public speaking. Unless it's a performance, like an actor doing Shakespeare or something like that, they don't know what you're going to say. Isn't that true, Lynn? They don't know what you're going to say. Only the speaker knows what they're going to say. So they don't know if you forgot a line. They don't know if you forgot the punchline to your joke that you set up. They even forgot, if you put 2 paragraphs in the wrong order. Nobody is going to die over this. It's okay. And they just don't know what you're going to say, so they're very happy with your speech. Don't be hard on yourself. That's one of the things that causes your blood pressure to go up, that causes your heart to start beating really fast the minute someone asks you to speak in public. You're really hard on yourself. And when you do that, it's not serving you, it's not serving anyone, but we all do it. We all get this attack of nervousness. And so what I'm here to tell you today is it's perfectly safe to be yourself. It's perfectly okay to breathe. And it's perfectly okay even if you mess up. It's not such a bad thing to be on the hot seat. It's really not. You can actually live through it. I've lived through it many times. Thank you so much for listening to me today. I'm one of the Toastmasters speakers, and I have put my cards on the table, and my phone number is on there. If you'd like to have me speak for a different AARP chapter, if you have a group or something you'd like me to speak at, I'd love to speak for you. I've loved speaking with all of you today and meeting several of you beforehand. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Joan. Appreciate it.